Yeah, hello again. Welcome to my channel. And it is one of your favorite videos and favorite series about moon signs. And I know that it's your favorite already. This makes me so happy. And there will be more to come. And here we are today. We are going to talk about the sweet Libra moon. So we have two astrologers and two participants with us. So the first, we have Beata and Yoanna. So they are all the astrologers. They both share Libra moon as natal placement, and they are professional astrologers. So yeah, now I will stop here and let them introduce themselves. So first, Beata, can you introduce yourself briefly about your practice, and whatever you want to talk about?
Sure. Hi, Matt. Hi, everybody. My name is Beata. I'm from Poland. You can find me on Instagram by my nick, Cosmic Support. I've been in the astrology world for roughly around 3 years. Honestly, all the time learning. I'm also dealing with tarot and also with corporate job. Actually, I've been a leader for, I would say, 9 years, 10 years maybe. So kind of mixing those jobs together. And yes, I do have a Libra moon, Leo sun, but then also Libra rising, Libra Venus, and also my South node is right next to my moon. So I think I can call myself a Libra.
Yeah, you are. I think you are totally a Libra with that. Thank you, Beata. And Joanna, now it's your turn.
Hi everyone. So my name is Yoanna. I'm really happy to be here. I am originally from Bulgaria, but I've been living in the Netherlands. My studies in terms of professionalism is human resource management. So I did a bachelor's in HR. I'm currently working as an astro psychologist. I like to blend the two. Maybe it's my Scorpio MC and my moon in the eighth house, always trying to dig deeper. And I'm also working with my father in logistics. So I'm doing a lot of things. I have a Libra moon. I'm a Taurus sun and Aquarius rising. And my Libra moon is a little bit spiced since it makes almost an exact opposition with my Aries Venus. So it's a lot of like flair bringing in. And yeah, I'm just really happy to be here and just share this with all the other sweeties.
Yeah, and that's perfect. We have two different Libra energies in both of your charts. So we will talk about that. Okay, I'm so excited still. So let me ask you the first question that I asked everybody, and one by one, I will have your answers. So when you think of Libra moon, both in you or both and in the chart of a client, or when you meet someone with Libra moon, what is the first word, first theme that comes to your mind? So think about it. And
I think I can go. That would be actually two things. Harmony, aka balance, and relationships. Definitely.
yeah, for me as well. Joanna?
I think what I've noticed from myself and others, there is always, I would say, the mediator, which again comes inside the balance, but I feel we're always mediating something. And even if it's our mom's late bill on the phone that she doesn't want to call customer service for. And then I would say there is this, sometimes I would not say it's a preoccupation with the other, but I feel a lot of Libra moon placements, if they snap out of it, they realize they're spending a lot of their time in other people's worlds. That's why we're great problem solvers and we can just randomly think of a solution after a week of the problem being presented to us. And then you realize, oh, I've been standing this in this problem the whole week. And just you notice it by the solution because you can also just detach a lot because it's still air. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we have three good keywords: relationships, mediator, and harmony. Okay, so let's start with the relationships. So because I think this is the topic that many people are curious about, Libra and relationships. So first, what does a relationship mean for a Libra moon, or how is an ideal relationship for a Libra moon? So my first question will be that again.
I
Yes.
think I would say here that it can actually be two things. It can be, like striving for this relation, like perfect relationship, being in perfect symbiosis, with one another. Um, because of course, like Libra is the sign that is talking about relationships in the natural chart. But I would say, and I've also seen that a lot, that Libra is also about, kind of curiosity and being interested in everyone, because this is what Yoanna mentioned, right? That we are always preoccupied with other people. And for example, for me personally, there's nothing more interesting than learning about other people, how they are, who they are, and also, of course, in relationships, right? So from my own experience, I would say that it's very often like, um, being with people who are completely different, especially different than me. This is definitely like, extremely, extremely interesting. If someone is different than me, I would be interested in them.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Joanna?
Well, I'm thinking a lot about the fact that I think we have this almost instinctual awareness of reciprocity. And I've observed this a lot because we are very close to Virgo, right? And where with Virgo, sometimes you can see this more of like a give and take and tit for tat, and they're like an accountant keeping count of it. Libra has just this more natural awareness of reciprocity, and it's not to be like, I will love you if you love me back, but it's more about the true fairness and just the abstract feeling of, are we in an equal relationship, even if your equal is helping me garden and my equal is helping you do your chores or homeworks. Like, it doesn't need to be always the same thing, but we feel when things are disbalanced in terms of this reciprocity. And what I also learned is that we have this instinctual awareness of just how relationships should be. I remember in my first relationship, I think I was 18, and I was telling my partner, like, I think we should do things this way. And years later, when I started reading books, I had this like deja vus of exact same lines I've told him. And then I was like, wait, I actually know how to do relationships, even without reading books. It just comes as an instinct, right? We carry this moon energy from our lineage and past lives. So I think all Libra moons should trust themselves more in their discernment of how things are in relationships and what's right and wrong, because we can get swayed by other people, and just not trust our instinct. But we are pretty good at relationships, guys. We need to be more confident about it.
Yeah, exactly. So I have to confess something about myself. Almost all of my exes had Libra moon, so I know that energy pretty really well. And other than this, I have a friend who has a Libra moon. So she told me that when she was in elementary school, she was in love with the boys in the classroom one by one. Like each week, she was in love with somebody. So I think that goes to the excitement of getting to know somebody. So that like as Beata said, it's about like getting to know someone who is different, who is opposite. So because in zodiac, Libra is the first opposite sign. So we have Aries and then we go to Libra. So that opposition is something that I think fascinates them. And at the same time, as Yoanna said, it's about reciprocity. So mutual relationship, equality, 50-50. So yeah, they kind of need that exchange in relationships. And I also not believe that like Libra energy, people with Libra energy know how to carry a relationship like by birth, kind of. It's kind of their natural talent, I believe. So they like really observe well the dynamics of a relationship, the like the harmony in the relationship, as we said. And then I'm also curious about this placement in regards that like relationships, okay, will be pretty central, but what happens when Libra Moon is not in a relationship? So what kind of period is that for Libra Moon people?
I can say here that it can be difficult. Also from my own experience, I can mention that f- there was a big you know kind of how to say that to not overshare too much with everyone who's watching. Libras tend to be people pleasers, right? So it might also be that if we are out of balance, we might actually, let our boundaries be crossed. And yeah, sometimes when you have strong Libra placement, you really want to be in a relationship and you find someone, maybe this person is not perfect, or maybe this person is not good at all, but you would still like, okay, I think this moment where reciprocity that Joanna mentioned is like out of balance, right? Because we tend to be the ones like giving more, pleasing more, and kind of violating boundaries. I would say so. This very interesting, Libra Aries axis. Yeah, that's something I would say from my experience. I don't know if you, Joanna, would agree.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had troubles unmuting. I think what a Libra moon or a Libra placement gets when they're out of relationship is they find themselves. I think it's imperative that we even impose it on ourselves to not be compulsive about connections, because right after a relationship is over, we're super vulnerable. We have, I believe we can all agree, some type of fear of loneliness, because Libra doesn't know of herself without the other. Even though I have the Aries opposition, I've struggled a lot with just needing this mirror in front of me to give the validation, the attention, to remind me who I am. But when you realize that you are being compulsive and it's really dragging you down, and you tell yourself, listen, I will stay by myself. I will not flirt. I will not go to parties. I will not chit chat and text. And I will not have my airplane fantasies of falling in love at the airport. And then she first, the amount of times I've been like on the airport, maybe this is the place I'm meeting my soulmate. She will then find, first, she will nurture a lot of her friendships. I think it's very important to really maintain all of your connections when you're in a relationship. Sometimes we can get really lost and really deep into the partner. It's very amazing. Love is one of the greatest things there is in this life. But then our friendships, and then we can see our talents, our strengths. Then we find that Aries inside of us, like, hey, I can do this. I can write poems. I can do fashion. I can just shine on my own and not just need this other person, all the time. So I think we struggle and it hurts. Like, literally, Libra moons can get sick, I think, after breakups. But it's really worth it to like push through it and see what's on the other side. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think I have like a lot on my head. This session will be longer than the other sessions because like Libra covers lots of topics in astrology, like partnerships, relationships, law, and many other topics. So first I will go by the song "Thank You Next" by Ariana Grande. So if you remember the song, like she talks about her partners one by one, and then she says the final one is great. Her name is Ariana, and I have a great relationship with her. So I think that explains what Yoanna said. So it's also about being in a good relationship with yourself, like especially when you are kind of single, yeah. And I love that airport fantasy that you're falling in love at places. And for boundaries as well, like I have a Libra moon friend, again, the same friend. And once I told her, you are not invading people's boundaries. You are just shooting and destroying people's boundaries. So, yeah, this is kind of, yeah, it can also happen. Like we will also talk about the negative qualities of Libra moon, and we will come to that. And we have relationships, okay, and I believe we will be coming back to relationships from time to time. And the second one is harmony that I want to talk. So, because it is the sign that is ruled by Venus, it is also pretty like smooth, artistic, and beauties and luxuries are also with Libra. And other than this, harmony can also involve the mutual relationship, because not just romantic relationships, also law, clients, people we get service, business partners, they are also in Libra. So for this, I also want to talk about how does a Libra moon maintain balance and mutual relationship, and how does Libra moon maintain equality, and what happens when this equality is distorted, kind of. Yeah.
I think I can get especially the last one, but this is also kind of connected with my Leo sun. Definitely for me, and I remember that ever since I was a child, I was always looking at, people who were kind of, like underdogs or mistreated. If there was any, lack of balance, if someone was unfair to my, kids at school, for example, even though I was like 8 years old, I would always fight for them and try to mediate and try to make sure that everyone is, feeling included, and yeah, that there is this balance. But this is also something that, for example, I see in my career, as I've been a manager, a leader for many years, and I think one of the main things for me as a leader, as a Libra moon leader, is to make sure that everyone has the right to speak, that everyone is heard, that people are like not interrupting one another, that people are respected in the group. And if anyone is mistreated, I will be definitely the one to step in and fight for them. But again, I think this is the Leo sun as well, in terms of standing up for folks. And you also asked about, how to maintain the balance as a Libra moon. Well, depending, in which area we're talking about, right? Because in relations, for me, and I don't mean just like romantic relationships, but generally relations with people, this is all about, again, making sure that everyone is heard, that the conversations are kind of calm and peaceful. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of extremes, like, too extremely sarcastic sense of humor, or being like, too depressive, etc. I'm always kind of trying to regain this balance for the group. And as Libra moon as well, it's the big part is reflecting people's emotions. My moon is also in my first house, right next to my ascendant. So of course, yes, I see people, I understand what is going on. I see every little change in, in their behavior, in their energy, pretty much. So kind of like creating this, because we are focused on other people, right? So creating this safe space for people to talk, to express themselves, and kind of sometimes help them to actually understand themselves. So yeah, I would say that for me, this is major.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you explained really well. And for you, Anna?
I first want to say, because before I forget it, it's very interesting when you said like you are the first house moon and the way you feel emotions of other people. And then I was like, my 8th house moon is like, I'm also feeling them. It's like in the undercurrent, and it's like very interesting contrast. I think for the whole idea of balance and harmony in relationships, I think for us, it's an ongoing thing. I even read it somewhere a long time ago that for a Libra moon, the balance is not something that is like a constant that's attained. It's more of a something she's always doing, just naturally falling into that role. And I've also always in school been the person like, no, hear him out, or even at work, wait, he hasn't finished, or at home, please lower your voice. Always just end up in the middle, juggling everyone, trying to just, like facilitate this into something that's more productive and just keeping everyone's ego down. And I think also people have always felt so comfortable. Like I had this high school friend, whenever I would go to her house, she and her mom would always start fighting in front of me. And at some point they will be like, why are we always having these discussions in front of her? And you would see how they're talking about things that have been brooding inside of them for months and months. And I'm like, guys, you just want me to come here and for you to like let it all out so I can like mitigate the whole conversation. And then because they feel so safe that everyone will say their piece and the other one would not be able to overbear them. So they will just let it all out. And what I also think is very important for our own sake and like in like sanity, again, coming back to Aries, maybe it's just my opposition, but you know, there is this video. Yes, you are a people pleaser. Name 3 people that are pleased with you. I think we need to maintain balance also by maintaining our own like authority around it, because sometimes we overextend ourselves just to please, but then we cannot finish the task, and the person is actually angry at us because we set up wrong expectations. Then we feel so disbalanced, because I think one of the worst things for us is for someone to be mad at us, right? I remember when I was a child, I was always like, are you mad at me? Are you mad at me? Did I do something wrong? Like, we just cannot stand the idea of someone being pissed at us, but it can actually happen if we are like overextending. So yeah, the balance thing, I think, is just something we're always striving towards to, and it's just our job.
Yeah, exactly. So then the balance will come from the within. And I also agree that Libra moon has the anxiety of someone will be mad at them. So I often see that too. Then I also have a story from my workplace, previous workplace. I was working at a university and there were teachers, many teachers, and we were having a meeting, like it was with 10 people or 15 people. And there was also another teacher who had some psychological issues, some mood disorder or something like that. And the other teachers were kind of complaining about him. And I had a Libra moon friend, and she said, like, if we exclude these people from society, they will be lost. So she kind of stood up for him. So yeah, I remember that now. So yeah, definitely, you guys have that standing up for others energy. Okay. And then balance will be pretty important. Then what happens when you lose your balance completely? So you're out of balance and you cannot see anything clearly, like you are kind of totally lost. How do you get back?
It's kind of honestly, it's difficult for me to answer because like I'm always striving for balance. So even if I, for example, have like some extreme emotions, like I'm extremely sad because, for example, I went through a breakup, right? So I'm crying, but then I don't really let myself stay in this state. I'm like kind of automatically coming back to the equilibrium. So I really don't know if I can answer this question. Maybe Joanna has something here, but
When he said it, I was like, are we even aware when this is happening? Because I think for all air moons, it's pretty dangerous, the mental gymnastics and the powers we have to just shift perspective all the time and talk ourselves into a good mood and be like, yeah, this happened, but it's for a good reason. Maybe my car broke down because I need new one. Like, I think we're constantly like mentally juggling the situation so we can make it a little bit more positive. I think it takes us a very long time to realize we're really out of balance, because it's like defense mechanism, right? The moon is very, very like swifty, and we cannot always trust the moon. I've learned she's changing signs every 2 days, so it's she's pretty unreliable source. So I think like it takes us some time to realize that, especially maybe because I don't have any water in my chart, but we are very good at maintaining like a mental level-headedness, right? I wanted to say in the beginning, Libra moons, I think, are very level-headed people. um so when we lose the balance, then it's pretty cliche, but I think more Libra moons should do pros and cons lists, or just writing things down in 2 columns. I was mad why it took me like over 20 years to find out how helpful this is, just because we are so smart. I think most Libra moons are very like cerebral, And we think, oh, I know all the points in my head. But no, when you write them down, you see everything. This is this balance. This is this balance. And that's how we balance it out. And we just let it all out of our heads. And we just need to get out of our minds a lot. I think all air moons need to do that more often. But yeah, I think it takes a long time. We do not want to accept we're out of balance, I think.
I think this is very interesting what you mentioned about not having any water in your chart. I actually have my Mercury in Cancer, right? So for me, actually, to maintain the equilibrium is like to release the emotions, right? So I will like cry it all out, and it's like, okay, I'm crying it all out, and then it's in balance again, or I'm angry, so I will show it. I will definitely express it. I would vent, and it's like a very short thing, the expression, and then it's like, okay, back to equilibrium again. Libra.
Yes, venting is huge. I also wanted to say, I don't think we have a lot of other tools to process emotions than communication. For us, verbalizing, sometimes I just need to call my friend, go through this thing over and over again, and then the cardinal energy kicks in, and it's like, it's time to move on. But like, venting is huge.
Exactly. So I think one of the keywords that you mentioned is detaching and observing the situation from the outside. And as you said, all air moons kind of do that. So with Libra moon, at the same time, I see some type of constant processing. So there will be the processing of emotions, like thinking about two ways. So it's a counter. What happens if I act like this? What happens if I'm nice to them? What happens if I'm kind of pissed at them? So there is kind of this balance, and it will be useful to look at the situation from the outside, from the like third eye kind of view. But this might also happen. So this is the criticism that all air moons get actually. Sometimes people find you guys a bit detached, so or a bit cold emotionally. So maybe like it is happening on the inside. So at the same time, you are feeling all the emotions from here to here inside, but it is kind of a poker face, maybe. So yeah, how can you comment on this? Like that the other moon signs maybe finding you a bit detached in a way.
I think for me, it's not a case at all because I have my moon right on my face, right?
Uh-huh.
So everyone can see. Plus, Mercury in Cancer, so I'm expressing. Plus Leo Sun, so I'm like, everybody has to know. But I wanted to comment on one thing that you mentioned is this. It's actually two things. First, being constantly aware of your emotions and your thoughts and knowing, like, I can name every single emotion that comes to me. Like, if I feel sad or if I'm pissed off, I know exactly where it generated, where it started, because I'm like constantly processing that. And second thing is also understanding every option available pretty much because I feel like being Libra moon, you can understand every single perspective, and I can talk to you and we may completely disagree, but I'm like, okay, but I understand where is he coming from. I understand. I disagree, that's not my style, but I totally like get it. So I feel like this is this thing where sometimes it's very difficult, for example, to cut off people from your life even when they are like hurting you or not like your preferred person because you understand why. So yeah, that's how I wanted to comment on that.
Yeah, actually, yeah, as you said, in Libra Moon, there is also high level of empathy. So, which kind of people overlook as it is a kind of air moon. So, they can kind of, like as Yoanna said, like they can be like the third eye, observe the situation from the outside. At the same time, like they can look at the situation from the perspective of someone else, the other person. So, which is a good like method of empathy, I believe. Yeah, and Joanna?
I wanted to say that I think like one of the most important lessons that I had in young adulthood was that understanding and accepting were not the same thing. Because like through my life, unconsciously, I will always tolerate behaviors, like you said, just because I can understand it. And then it took me a lot of time to find out I can understand almost anything. I can mentally process it and find the why and the B and how one thing led to the other. But then, like, we really do not need to accept everything we understand. We can be like, I understand you, but this is really not my thing. I do not accept that behavior in my life. And for the detachment, I wanted to add, I think, like, we have the advantage for our other air moons because we're the only air sign that's involved with the other person so bigly in the archetype. So we're definitely very, very capable of empathy, even if it's a more different type of, I think it's like a cognitive empathy term. But yeah, the understanding and accepting thing, I think it's very important for our mental health because we will be able. And actually, what happens sometimes is that we need to have a little bit of logic in the other person's behavior to be able to move on. Because I've caught myself in relationships many times being like, just walk me through your thinking process and I will find a way to forgive you. But if the person, and that's where the water comes in, or like I have many Gemini contacts, like then it comes in with this complete senseless mess. And I cannot fathom how this, and until it makes some type of logic, I cannot move on. Just give me something that sounds reasonable in a way, and I will find a way to move on. But if I cannot understand, or if you cannot tell me your own thinking process of how you ended up in this situation, then it's hard for me to find grace. And sometimes it's maddening for the other person, to try and find logic in Pisces or Gemini on a Thursday night. So
I just need to say that I've been like almost clapping because this is precisely the thing. Like, walk me through your thinking process. What did you think? Why did it happen like this? Because I want to understand. And this can be like, again, like very, very stressful and very frustrating, especially if, for example, you're dating a Scorpio moon, for example. That happened to me. It's like, tell me what's inside. I want to understand. So yeah, it can be very frustrating and that can last for years.
yeah, that's why I've told myself that I cannot trust people who don't have self-awareness, because we will get in a situation where I will need them to explain to me the thought process, and they will just give me something that might not even be true, because if you're not self-aware, then how do you know why you did something? But if you are immature Libra moon, you will just buy the story and be like, oh, so you can do shitty things because your cat died in fifth grade. That sounds reasonable, even though you're 30. So, yeah, it can be maddening for the other person, but it's something that small, I think, that we really need just to make a little bit of a sense. Because then we feel disharmony, no order. Where is the logic? We're like, where is the logic? But water has no logic. Fire has no logic. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, you explained everything perfectly. I'm so amazed, how you two also share the same perspective. Yeah. So, yeah, we talked about relationships, harmony, mediating, and I also know that it is very difficult for Libra Moon to walk out of a relationship. So, because you might feel like you have devoted so much and you have made so much effort and you don't want your efforts to go in vain, because like you kind of get to know the person, their thinking process, their mental structure, and when you break up it will be all like gone. So my question here this time is that what makes a Libra moon go out of a relationship, run out of a relationship?
I mean, I've been in a relationship that's been like for dragging for 7 years, and was very like unclear and difficult, and it was kind of anxious, and how do you call it, this attachment?
Avoidant. Avoid.
Exactly. anxious and avoidant, attachment style, I would say. So definitely this is when a Libra is very out of balance. What makes me run? I can say what makes me run away from a relationship or from a person immediately. Lack of like mental, connection. If I don't feel that someone is a good person to talk to, I would not stay. Even though on the other hand, the Libra that is like very attracted to beauty and people who can sometimes be attractive, but maybe not the most right, that can be a challenge. But in the end, it's like, okay, we need to have this mental connection. If there is no mental connection, I will run away probably sooner than,
Okay,
yeah.
1 point. And Yoanna?
Well, I was going through my head and I'm like, where should I begin? But for sure we can stay very long. I think yes, the investment is there. I mean, we are both fixed sons, so we don't know how much bias there is, because fixed and investments is big. But I think like Libra gets so attached to this, the shared daily lives, the fact that you guys exchange reels and music, and like Libra is like the romantic part of the relationship, and she can sometimes hurt herself of over romanticizing romanticism. And I think what my friend, she's also an astrologer, calls my syndrome is like an intimacy laziness. We do not want to get to that part again with someone else, sift through all the people who we don't like, go to the trust part, build the comfort of knownness. It's we also don't want to go through that thing again. And what pushes me away, first, we don't tolerate any type of violence, loud like shoutings and these things. But I think sometimes it's a lot about principles for me. Maybe it's my Taurus, but the person might do a lot of things that I don't like, and then there will be this one small thing that just flips the whole. I'll be like, how dare you ruin my best friend's birthday? Or how dare you be so inconsiderate to my mom? Maybe it always involves another person to help like get out of it. But to me, it's always something so principled that just throws me off. And just the inconsiderate, rude people, I cannot stand them, even though my Venus is in Aries and she likes a little bit of that roughness.
Yes,
But
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So we have two good points again, like mental connection, mental equality, and rudeness, and causing chaos in a way. So yeah, that can eventually make Libra moons too tired for a relationship. Okay, so for relationships, we talked about it with many aspects. And also, now let's talk about, as you said, Libra being the sign ruled by Venus. So, and if we think of Venusian themes like music, art, beauty, money, luxuries, creativity, how can we put these things into Libra moon?
Well, I can show you guys something. Like this is what I have right next to my desk. It's a yeah, like maybe you don't see it very well, but like my place is absolutely covered in art, in graphics from my favorite designers, intense colors. Yeah, like some pieces of art, also some paintings that I painted by myself as well. It's like I love it because it has the colors. So ever since I started discovering this kind of beauty, my life really changed in a very positive way. And that was not something that has been with my life all along, because I'm coming from like a very simple family with not a lot of money, etc. So I never had like beautiful things around. So when I started, becoming my own person, making my own money, and kind of discovering this part of life. Um, Sometimes I can just like sit in my living room and just like stare at things because they are so beautiful. So for me, for example, colors are extremely important. They energize me, they make me happy. But also, if I see a color that I don't like, the color that is like not intense enough, or just like this kind of like weird shade of I don't know, brown or something. For me, it's brown. I just feel so triggered. I'm like, I don't want to watch it. Like I need to have those beautiful things. And I actually also, I was noticing that when Yoanna was speaking, I noticed your nails, gorgeous. Yeah, I also, for me, like this is one of the most important thing in my life, like to have a beautiful color on my nails and it's shiny and it's beautiful. So yeah, it really makes me very, very happy when I'm surrounding myself with things that I find beautiful. And of course, it's not always the same things that other people find beautiful. I remember when I was a kid, a teenager, when you're a teenager, you usually want to be the same as your friends. Yeah, I was trying to fit in, of course, but then the older I was becoming, the more I was becoming aware of my style, of what suits me. And for example, right now, my style and my taste is different than the one from my friends, but I carry myself with pride, and because for me it's beautiful. Maybe someone doesn't find it beautiful, but I'm like super, super proud of it and like embracing it. So definitely beautiful objects everywhere and shiny, but that's me.
Love it. Okay, Joanna.
I mean, when you asked, I was just going to scream, look at her room. Like, this is just a Libra moon. And I think we need that because, right, the moon is the emotional safety. We sometimes are being called shallow because we need this beauty to be nurtured around us. And I've been to other Libra moon homes, and it doesn't need to be something too big. It can be just little thrifted trinkets, but the Libra moon always found a way to just decorate, to just put a little candle. And I think the Venus comes in with how nurtured we are by those beautiful objects and how well we feel in a nice cute restaurant, or when we're just in our world with music. Or my Libra moon friend, even today, she texted me, how is it possible that I did my mani pedis, and the moment I took my feet out of my shoes, my vibration feels higher? How is it possible by something so simple? But you just need that. For us, these are essentials, I think. All Libra moons deserve to have this in their lives. You buy your lip gloss, you do your nails, and I think it's very cute, and it's not something that's shallow, or we just need that beauty. And we also do it for other people. I know, like, I'm the best gift giver in my whole friend group, and it's always something so thoughtful. Someone mentioned something little like 6 months ago, then I saw it online, I bought it. It's always like we like to extend and show other people this beauty too. Yeah.
Exactly. And I also love shopping with my Libra moon friends. And the best compliment I get is that they all told me I never looked scruffy or like I never look bad. I'm always so elegant. So that I love that compliment from Libra moon. So that means it's right. Okay. So
Oh,
yeah, we also have a very Venusian
but
side. Yes.
you also mentioned compliments, and I think yes, I think you would like Libra moons are good at complimenting because you can find something good in everyone, and sometimes even those things that people don't even think about, but probably will come and say, "Oh my goodness, I love the way you express yourself," or "This is cute," or it's definitely like sharing and spreading this Venus energy, for sure. For sure. And also, because Matthew also asked about money, right? Because this is also the topic ruled by Venus. And I could jump in here. I actually wanted to mention something when Joanna was introducing herself. I also study psychology. I also worked in HR. So I think this is like a big thing, and probably like a big career for Libra to work with people, and especially those one-on-ones sessions. Definitely big thing. And I would say from like money making perspective and how the money flows, personally, I feel that when I embraced my Libra, the money started flowing, and in a more like effortless way. So thank you, Venus. But also, yeah, those types of jobs where you are just expressing yourself and helping other people express themselves and talk one-on-one sessions, definitely. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think I wanted to mention like a keyword I forgot when she said about the compliments. It's like we are very personable people, if that's the word in English. Like we will remember the colleague went to the vet with the cat. We will remember your mom's birthday. We will remember this, that, the way you take your coffee. Like we're so personable in our happy birthday wishes. We'll just mention something we know the person is dreaming about. It's always this personal touch. I think that makes it so good working with others, and we really excel in those careers and we don't even need to. I think I watched like a movie a long time ago, and it was like a business strategy. Oh yeah, write down everyone's names and everyone's hobbies, so then you can make an impression. I wish I can just erase this from my mind. Like, it just happens, like it's just saving up there random facts about people I've met, and then at the right moment something pops up and the information just comes in your mind. But yeah, we're very, very like personable people.
Exactly. And I also love both of your energies, like how you are referencing to each other, like how you are in harmony. So that usually does not happen in multi-speaker groups. So that's perfect. Okay. Yeah. So we have this Venusian side. And also, like in astrology, we know that each placement, each chart has the evolved expression and the unevolved expression. So now, when we talk about the unevolved Libra moon again, so what do you think the negative qualities of unevolved Libra moon? So now let's also talk about some negative things.
I would say definitely people pleasing.
Yeah.
I would say indecisiveness.
Yes.
Because like every option is fine. So like which one should I choose? Oh, and there are actually more. So maybe this one and this one. Okay, I don't know. So sometimes you can just have like this decision paralysis where you just don't know what to do. And sometimes maybe someone else can make the decision for you. And of course, this is not somewhere we want to go. I would say I know some Libra moons that are very avoidant in terms of confrontation. Again, not my thing because I'm a Leo and my Mars is in Capricorn, so I'm like I want this confrontation, and I'm like fine with I will make it peaceful. No, I will make it peaceful. I will make it logical. But I know a lot of Libras that are just like running away. And then I feel like, okay, let's restore the balance. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. But yeah, I think this is the part that I'm seeing the most in those shadowy Libras. Yoanna, what do you think?
Well, in terms of confrontation, despite my Aries and my Aries Mercury, there are so many situations where I just catch myself avoiding because I realize I'm interpreting as confrontational. It can also, for the other person, it might not even be a confrontation, but every moment where you are standing up for yourself or you need to assert yourself and you feel like maybe in some way you're going to disadvantage the other person, right? Because it's always like, how is me and how is them in the situation. I also can avoid that myself. Shadowy, I think codependency, especially like in my early adulthood. I also wanted to say that about money. Maybe it's also my individual chart, but I've noticed like it's just an instinctual um, drive like towards like some type of interdependence in finance as well. Could be the eighth house, but the codependency, and I think sometimes the decision paralysis deeply like psychologically has a lot to do with like lack of self-trust. We need to tap into that areas and know that whatever is happening we can do it, like we can get through it. We can do it even if we're alone, because we really need to feel that interdependence and support from other people, right? Even if it's just morally and just emotionally. But I think yeah, the codependency part comes a lot from you just not believing you can do it yourself. And then also like we can get hyper aware of other people's moods. Oh, I don't want to say that because then I'll piss him off, but then when he's pissed off I'm having a bad day. Like all these codependencies, we need to have more emotional authority and autonomy. And what other well, I've seen other Libra moons. My Aries and my Aquarius cannot stand that, but there is Libra moons with shallowness and a little bit of, like we are very charming people. And I've seen Libra moons use that for personal gains, we can like find a way to like finesse our way into things and smooth talk and be charmers. I think that's a shadowy self of Libra moon. I read somewhere, I don't know if in school we learned about this book Bellamy, where he was basically sleeping his way through the ladder. And I read somewhere that Libra moons are related to that in a way, like what's her word? Anna Nicole Smith, the one who married like a very old guy.
Yes.
And then Meghan Markle, I think, has a Libra moon. Amber Heard. So that's the shadowy self. If you tap into the charm, it can be dangerous what you can do with it. So yeah, let's not bash us anymore because we don't like that negative stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it will be good for self-reflection and maybe some self-awareness. And as you said, like looking opposite the Aries energy will also be helpful to kind of evolve and to get more self-dependence, especially if you are dependent on relationships. So yeah, it's also a good that we talk about these things so that maybe it might help people. Okay, so wow, we talked about amazing things. I love it. Like I love like normally like all my sessions lasted for 50 minutes. It has been 55 minutes and I still have a lot to talk. Yeah, I love your harmony. Okay, so then I will also talk about the intimate relationships with the moon. So, you know, moon is pretty activated in intimate relationships, sexual relationships. So it also what makes us feel complete and fulfilled. So, how would you put Libra moon into sexual intimacy or intimate relationships? And how does that balance come out of there?
I would say, so here I think reciprocity is going to come back.
Huh?
Like I would say that yeah, Libra moons will take care of their partners for sure. It's, you know, we are reading people's emotions and needs and energy. So definitely that this is something that is very, very visible. I would say also this kind of like variety because we are still air sign, right? So it's about like mixing many things together, right? I can be romantic for 2 minutes, then I will be, you know, more kinky or whatever. It's like a mix, right? So I think if you go to bed with a Libra moon, you will be surprised and you will probably experience a lot of variety and yeah, mixing things up. Okay, I will shut up here. Kidding.
Okay.
Let's not forget to mention she will have the satin bed sheets, the nicely smelling room. She will have her all like she will be groomed and clean, and maybe it's my Virgo in that house, but still like Libra moons. Like it will be a pleasure, I think, having spent that time with the Libra moon. I think we do have some insecurities in terms of the overthinking, right? How am I perceived? Is this a good angle? Am I looking pretty? Sometimes I'm like, when I'm falling asleep, do I look ugly? Will I just sneeze and do something that's, you know, not aesthetic? But it's okay to do that. It's human. So the reciprocity, we are very like aware of the little cues the person is giving away of what they might like. I think with time, if this reciprocity is not returned back to us, we will start getting bitter about it, as we should. And for intimacy, yeah, I think you're right. There's a lot of variety for sure. And I think the build up is something that's very important to me. It's about this aesthetic again, right? Let's pretend we don't know where this is going to end. So we need to eat at the restaurant first, stare at the moon together. I think romantic things are very like a foreplay for us to warm us up to there, even if we both know what is happening here. So that variety is important, and just some quality time together, some nice conversation, have the banter, and then like get
Yeah.
into it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know all these things. Don't ask me how. I will also shut up here. Okay. Yeah, and that. again, reciprocity will be pretty important in intimacy as well, and that will be one of the key like needs of Libra moon. Okay, so when we go from intimacy, moon also represents motherhood in astrology, as you know, and as the viewers probably know. So, how can we evaluate motherhood within Libra moon? First, let's talk about Libra moon child. So, how is the relationship with the mother, and what type of mother they need, and so on.
I can start here. Having my moon in my first house, I was always very proud of it for my whole life, and I'm in my very late 30s. That I had a very close relationship with my mother, where she was always sharing things with me. I remember I was 8 years old. We would come back from school and just sit in the kitchen and talk for hours. Talking about this girl at school behaved this way and this person behaved this way. So I remember that ever since I was a child, my mother was talking to me like I'm a grown up. It took me a lot of time to kind of realize that perhaps some of the things that my mom was sharing with me were not I was not supposed to hear, because I became I started feeling very responsible for my mother's feelings. My mother is a Cancer, so, a lot of emotions there. And of course, I felt that for my whole childhood and for the bigger part of my adulthood, I felt responsible for pleasing my mom, but like in a very subtle way. It didn't seem like very toxic. It's something that, like, I want to take her to the movies because I know she's not going to go by herself. So I felt like responsible for making her happy. This is still something that is in progress, right? Where I'm like, okay, setting some boundaries. I will let her take care of herself as well. So definitely that. But I would say that that experience from my childhood and my teen years and my adult years really, really helped me grow my empathy. But I would also say that there was a very frustrating part where, being a Libra moon, I can tell when something is wrong. Like, I can immediately say, like, okay, something happened. And I'm asking, hey, what happened? Nothing. And this is the biggest frustration when I know exactly, right? So for me, I was really mirroring my mother. And I was kind of like her confidant and support system. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Preach, sister. I was like, I mean, the reversal of the roles, the comforting, the responsibility for the joy and the happiness, keeping it upbeat, being there. I mean, this whole equality thing. Your mom is a Cancer, mine's a Capricorn. So, I mean, yes, I think she was also always treating me as an adult, and really, she even took pride in it sometimes. And now that I've grown and have all this psychology knowledge, I've told her, because I also have younger sisters, listen, this is not always good. You need to have the discernment. I always respect you for never having secrets from me, even though my moon is in the 8th house. Don't know how happened. But there are some things that you need to have the grown-up discernment of what is this child ready to hear and what not, because we don't have the critical thinking, we don't have the knowledge to really understand the thing the way you want it to be understood. So I think there is that part for sure. For sure, I love my mom taking me to the mall. I used to have these like breakdowns when I was a teenager. Let's say it's like a Christmas party and she's taking me to the mall. At some point, there were months where she didn't want to take me to the mall. Maybe it was my Aries Venus, but I was a horrible person. Not this blouse, not this top, horrible clothes, colors. Everyone looks cooler than me, like she could not handle it. And but I think maybe with all air moons, except a bit Aquarius, we did have a lot of banter. Like we were each other's best friends, albeit toxic sometimes best friends. But talking a lot, um, yeah, helping me. Like my mom is really not bougie. I think I'm the bougie one, but she was always helping me with that, even though she didn't get it completely right. And now she also gets a little bit of it. She's like, I like buying clothes as well. And like come to the dark side. But yeah, I think, isn't like Saturn exalted in Libra? I think maybe that's a little bit, because when you were speaking, I didn't realize other people also have this like role reversal and the earlier maturity. It really was ringing Capricorn in my mind. And then I thought about Saturn and the relationship to Libra. So maybe that's why we also grew up a little bit prematurely and in a more balanced way. But yeah, I think Libra moons need a mom who respects personal space, who knows when to be a child and when to be a grown up. And we really need to have peaceful environments that are not of our own making. Because it's one thing to have peace because you maintain that peace, and it's one thing to have peace because other people are maintaining the peace. You know, we need to have a rest a little bit. So yeah, that's
Exactly. So again, I kind of remember my friends' experiences, and they're kind of all the same. Like the mother, like I love it so much. The mother overshares. That's fun. Okay, so then let's take a look at from the other aspect, the reflection. I think you will love that. So, what can we say to parents who have a Libra moon child? Like how to raise the child, how to be more careful with the child, let's say.
Oh, don't scream. Don't scream. Like this is something that Joanna mentioned before, and when I was thinking about like also my relationship with my mom and how I was always like trying to protect her, but my dad was sometimes screaming, was like and I was the one like trying to restore the balance. Of course, I was a child, so it's not my role. But I remember this is something that was really triggering for me, something that also really impacted my my relationships, because I didn't like enter any relationships for a very long time because like I didn't want to, you know, I kind of thought like, okay, probably men will be similar to my dad, so they would be like screaming and, you know, yeah, screaming pretty much. Typical Polish dad. So please don't scream. Please try to be balanced. Try not to burden your children with your personal things, because they will try to step in and help you. um, and I would also say from my side, because this is something I didn't have, again, growing up in Poland in the 90s, give them some aesthetical thing, like some aesthetical expression, right? Like maybe if this child wants to put a poster on their in their room, like let them, or if they want to have like this color of dress that you don't like, but let them, because this is something that like is really important to have this balance and comfort and equilibrium.
Exactly.
add up on that. So I think maybe the most important thing is do not stay in relationships that are unhealthy for you in front of your child, that is going to learn so much about relationships through that, and will have half his life being about relationships, like, you know, witnessing apologies without changed behavior, witnessing people pleasing, crossing boundaries. Like Libra moon starts learning all these things and normalizes them, and she will suffer a lot. Yeah, no screaming, no yelling, please be quiet, be calm, go to please do not yell in front of their child, because it will just, yeah. And like you said, we will try to step in. So there is a certain level where you need to try and solve your problems by yourself, or don't show them so much when it's like a literal child, because they will just forget about their emotions and stay in your own drama and try to fix it because they go to them. And you're so right. Even my Capricorn mom, she never let me put posters on my door. Also, Polish, Bulgarian, no big difference. You know, she was never, this door is wooden, you will not ruin this. The Virgo moon in her was, no way you putting that poster up. Eventually, when I was 14, she allowed me to paint my room purple. I was so happy. So just let it have more freedom creatively, colorfully, as long as it's not harming anyone. Yeah, maintain pace. I think just be in a healthy relationship. If it's not working, I think it's better you just call it off than teach this Libra moon what a relationship looks like. And yeah, I think also be a little bit more fair, because we are so smart from very little, and when they do things that don't feel balanced and just to us, we take it very deeply, and we harbor this inside of us. We're like, why are you being so unjust? It's really not fair. And I remember before I even discovered astrology, when I was a teenager, my mom would tell me, you have a very strong sense for injustice. It's like an inborn thing. We just feel the disbalance. So try to be as just as possible and just be nice, and call your child pretty and beautiful. Please do that as many times as possible, because we're so hungry and thirsty for it when we grow up, and we just fall into bad relationship just because someone thinks we're pretty. If your mom and your dad tells you that, like these pageant princesses in America, you're so pretty. I'm like, please. So do that.
Well, yeah, that's a pretty great advice. Okay, so I love it again. Well, and one final question about motherhood. So, being making decision is something difficult for you guys. Like, I also had relationships in which my partners told me that just don't tell me like it doesn't matter. Just tell me something. Just let's do it. Okay. So as when we go back to decisions, and motherhood or parenthood is a very important decision in life. So when I asked this question to Taurus Moon, they told me that like we knew that we will be mothers, and Cancer Moon also told that like it comes from the within. So what does a Libra Moon think about it? Motherhood, the choice.
For me, I always thought, of course, I will be a mother because I'm a woman, and a woman always is a mother, right? This is what I've seen, and I never put a lot of thought into it until maybe like 5 years ago when I woke up one day and I thought, huh, this is interesting because I don't feel the like motherly instinct at all. Do I actually want to have children? I mean, do I have to? I don't have to, right? And I remember this morning, like something completely switched in my head, and I thought, okay, I can be, I don't have to be a mother, and I can make this conscious decision. So for me, I made a decision that I don't want to have children. Thankfully, I also, again, like my hormones are not like pushing me into it, because I know that there are many women who actually feel it. I'm like, I am fully happy to just embrace myself and my life the way I want it. So here I think the decision has been made, right?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
I think I was going to start my sentence with something you said. It needs to be a conscious choice. I think parenthood should be so conscious. I think this whole, when you learn how your parenting influences the whole life of the child afterwards, I really feel sad that lots of us, in a way, are like some type of casualties because of unconscious choices. And I think whoever, including myself, I believe I want to be a mom, but like Taurus, and I have a Taurus Mars. So I think, especially, I felt it very strongly when I have been in a relationship. And at some point, I just wake up feeling like, do I want to be a mom now? Like, it just feels motherly activated. But I think it needs to be very, very conscious. And I think many people, like the whole world, needs to know how much your behavior influences a whole life afterwards, to try and be as conscious as possible in parenting, to do work before that, to make sure you're not bringing the child into this world for wrong reasons, like people who fix their marriage with that, or who
Yeah.
think it's going to give them purpose in life. I think those things are no go for me. It needs to be for the sole purpose of bringing life into this world and nurturing it, growing it, and seeing what maybe all of this work that we've done with ourselves can actually do in a human being, right? That's very interesting for me. The Aquarius scientist is like, let's see what's going to happen with all the knowledge you have. But as long as it's conscious, then it's right for me. That's it.
Yeah, perfect. And I also think that like you are really aware of the dynamics in the relationship with your mother and parents. So that's how you consider that pretty, let's say, consciousness and choice-based. So perfect. Okay, so would you like to add any other keywords or topics to our discussion? Any final thoughts? I think we covered everything beautifully. But if you have any topics to cover, we can talk about it.
I'm actually looking at my notes, but I feel like we honestly covered most of the things: relationship, harmony, balance, beauty, art, colors, diplomacy, people's opinions, reflecting the mother, justice, being mediator, diversity, and inclusivity. This is something that is for me very, very important. But again, it's very connected to justice and like making sure everyone is has like um, space to express themselves. And yeah, understanding every side of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's always something. Yeah, like I feel I understand, and if I don't understand, I will keep on asking until I understand. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, I think
Exactly. Hmm.
we are pretty sufficient. I mean, we're air moons. We can chit chat for hours, I'm sure. And yeah, I think Libra moons, we're pretty cool. And we have lots of good qualities. And I think people should try to, be more considerate and be more kind and pay more attention. I think we just notice so much when someone is paying attention. And because we are paying so much attention, it's nice to have this feeling reflected back to you. You just feel the warmth of your own love. So yeah, and thank you, Matt, for giving us the opportunity to talk
Uh,
about ourselves
you're
here.
welcome. You're very welcome. Like I love this session, and I think it's obvious. So this has been, I believe, the most beautiful and harmonious session. Like you kind of nailed it. Thank you so much. Okay, so now let's invite our participants so you can talk about your comments and reflections and whatever you want to talk about. So anybody who volunteers first, we have Clarity, uh, and yeah, Clarity, you can unmute yourself.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
Um, Thank you so much for everything that you just said. It was very interesting to listen to. I just wanted to ask you about your thoughts on some topics like relating to Libra Moon, because well, I'm not a professional astrologer, but I've been into astrology for a few years, and what I've found to be a recurrent theme around Libra Moon is judgment in general, and I'm not sure. Like, for example, you were talking about the mother, and I've heard a lot of testimonies from Libra moons with judgmental mothers and how they really like make a point not to be judgmental towards other people. So I'd like to hear your thoughts about it, if that's okay.
I would say absolutely, and I love it that you brought it up. I don't think there's anything that triggers me more than people being judgmental, because like, how can you be judgmental when everyone is different and we can understand everyone, right? We can understand everyone's point, like side of the story, and then also being judgmental is this kind of extreme thing, right? So, and we don't like extremes. We like it to be in balance. So, I don't find myself judgmental. And this is also something that I'm hearing from other people that, hey, Beata, I can come to you and tell you everything because I know you're not going to judge me and I can open myself up and I can share with you. And I love when people are sharing with me, of course, because I'm like, collecting information about other people. It's like, wow, more information about people in my head, in my repository. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree 100%. I have found my mother to be judgmental in a way. Maybe she's very heavy Capricorn, like the woman is just above us sometimes. But I think perhaps, they say like the person who always tries to understand others is the one who really needed the most understanding. So perhaps there is a lot of connection with how we became so understanding as people, and we never want to feel these feelings of judgeness. And as what also you said, we can see all perspectives, so it really baffles us, but people are different and not everyone can grasp so many levels of a situation or even bother to, because it's we're also a bit out of hand sometimes with the analysis. But I definitely do not find myself judgmental. People do feel safe coming to me, and it has done me disservice to not have discernment in the past. Like I said, like knowing the difference between understanding and accepting something is very crucial for our well-being. But yes, to everything, yours, Clairvy, yours, Beta. Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to add something. I had a Libra friend again, and she only called people be when they are judgmental. So she hated judgmental people. Exactly. Okay, thank you, Clary, for the question. Do you have anything to add? Any questions or comments?
I don't think I have any more questions. It was all very interesting. I can relate to a lot of things that were just
Yeah,
said.
yeah,
So that was very educational. Thank you.
yeah, yeah. Thank you for being here. So, anybody else who want to talk?
I think maybe I can just jump in with one thing that came to my mind, and this is from my experience. It's not strictly connected just to Libra moon, but general this placement where you have your south node in conjunction with your moon, because this is something that I have, for example, and I think it's a very interesting placement where you can become very, very stuck in your Libra ways, and it can be very, very difficult to reach to this, opposite direction. So Aries. Personally, I am in my nodal return right now, so very, very interesting, and yeah, just actually wanted to share with people that when the moon is right next to your south node, it may be more and more difficult to actually,
Mhm.
step outside of this instinctual, familiar ways that your moon is expressing. So just a piece of curiosity.
Yeah, exactly. The south node will have this effect. And I'm also curious, Joanna, what's your north node?
My North Node is in Virgo,
Virgo.
but
Okay.
it falls in the seventh house in
Mhm.
Placidus. So it's a lot, again, a little bit, the one-on-one, the client work. I enjoyed that a lot. But yeah, the South Node in Pisces in my first house can be
Yeah.
some. Like, let's forget about ourselves. And Libra is like, cool, then everyone who likes us. And Pisces is like, dissolve somewhere. No
Yeah.
perception of time. No. But I was thinking for the South Node with the moon, it sounds like the past on steroids, right? Both really connected to the past. And what was very interesting is that you said about your decision that you took not to become a mom, and how actually your moon is opposite your north node. So the purpose goes opposite than being a mom. So astrology, as always, just
Yeah.
scary accurate.
Okay, yes, exactly. And the reason why I ask is that I also do North Node sessions like this. So yeah, I'm always like I reserve your spot, both of you. Yeah, I love this session so much. And I'm also a bit sad to end, but we have finished almost. So all good things come to an end. We know that. So then thank you so much, Beata and Yoanna. So I love this session as I told you. So yeah, this is the end of the video. And if you like these series, please subscribe and there will be more to come on astrology. See you next time. Take care and goodbye. And thank you again, Yoanna, Clary, and Beata.
Bye.
Bye bye.